Okay, good morning, everybody. I think we're now live on YouTube. Welcome to another Friday morning in the TEFL Development Hub. And today we're joined by Ciarán Lynch, who is going to be chatting to us about using memes to modernize your classrooms. I'm so excited about this because, as I said before, I never use memes at all. I don't think I use them in the classroom or even outside. So, Ciarán, really thanks a lot for coming along to share your expertise with us.
Okay, thanks, T. Thanks, T. I don't know if it would be expertise because the world of memes is always moving much faster than anyone can ever keep track of. But we're going to take a look at some like the idea behind them, the different kind of ones we can use, and then also uh, kind of see about how like implement them into your lessons. I use the title here to modernize your lessons. I'm not saying that anyone's lessons aren't modernized, but the idea of like bringing memes into the classroom is something that I'm really passionate about because it's such a massive resource that I don't think most teachers are really engaging with and using in their class. And you'll actually see, I've done this from my own experience. So you'll actually see bringing them in just makes things a lot easier. Firstly, from just a production element, but then also just more enjoyable because you can see people actually having fun with it. But we'll go through it as we go through. So this is kind of your like plan for kind of today. So like just a little bit about me first, and then your mimetic, which is actually the adjective, which is an interesting word for it. Your mimetic proficiency, so seeing how much you know about memes already. Everybody has, I think, some idea. You've at least heard the word or seen some. Um, you might not be up to date. Maybe you have TikTok, maybe you don't have TikTok, maybe you have Instagram, maybe you're on Reddit, maybe you're on none of these things, but you've got some proficiency of it there as well. And then how much mimetic language is used, so like how much we actually use in a day-to-day basis, and then also like how it's used outside of that, and then how we can actually use it in the classroom. That's our kind of major plan for today. So a little bit about me. So right now I work more in kind of edtech developing, but I also work a lot with like digital learning designers. So the idea there is memes are absolutely perfect for digital resources, because they are digital, inherently digital. So you don't really need to do much to convert them into if you're teaching a class online or if you're building a course or anything like that, they just lend themselves directly to it. Um, so then my slides are off. Other things like obviously web design, it all comes into effect with it. So if you're doing with your resources with that, currently not in Cordoba, I am in Barcelona, and I've got experience working in other parts of the world basically with that. So without that, let's get straight into what our memes are. So the first thing, just to get to the nuts and bolts and kind of the major specifics of it, right? So what is a meme? And basically, it's a unit or like a single element of communication, right? Now, the idea here with unit is we've got to be really careful because memes can be so many different things, but it is a unit of culture. So it comes from one culture or one group and is communicated. And then with that communication, people imitate it. So you'll see people like recycling the meme or making it their own and applying it to their own situation. So it's that idea where it spreads through imitation. And then the key thing then is like, what's the purpose of it? It's usually to be humorous, so to have some type of joke or something, and then also something catchy. So again, the whole thing with the meme is like it's being reshared. You know, you're going to get it, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to pass it on. So like that is the whole idea with it. So the key thing like that I've like highlighted here, it is communication. It's cultural communication. And I think a lot of us don't see the importance of that communication that's in there. So the one thing that I actually absolutely adore about memes is they transcend language barriers, right? So like they will not stay in one culture or one language. I was looking at examples, and if there's any Spanish speakers in the group today or anyone in Spain, like if I could say the Montoya meme, like you might know what that is. That was everywhere 2 weeks ago. And like it just exploded out of Spain. It was on a Spanish reality TV show, exploded out, and then was like being everywhere. Amazon were retweeting and making their own memes and everything like that. So for us, it's perfect because if you've seen a meme in your language, chances are your language learners have seen it too in their language. So like it's fantastic, because then if you're talking about cultural relevance, it has a cultural relevance to any language learner because they've probably seen it. Okay, there's some rare ones that haven't maybe, but if we're talking broad memes like that we're going to be featuring today, they have seen it, they have come into contact with it. And straight away then you don't need to have any sort of like cultural preamble to the material. You don't have to like prep it or anything like that. They see it, they know it, they're ready to go, right? So it's a fantastic element of language to just bring into it. But I really love how that like it's amazing to see like Spanish speaker memes move into English speakers or anything else. They'll just go across culture, Brazilians to Irish to UK, like that's you can track them, as they move and transcend language barriers. So again, perfect for us as language teachers. So the first thing I've got here, the meme here is the awkward Chloe meme, which is they all have names if you actually go into the research, but that's a whole other thing. So I've got some memes here which have some they're the beginning of the phrase and then they finish with a specific phrase. Okay. If you want to put your answers in the chat, feel free to. I'll go through them in a second. But the idea here is either these are the phrase from the meme. Okay, so maybe the meme has a video or an image associated with it, but this is the dialogue from it. And we've got to be careful because they're not always grammatically accurate. For example, number 3. However, there usually is like something that we can take from it. Okay, so the first one, if anybody wants to write in the chat, how would that sentence finish? I could have. There's going to be something with it. I can see T is already like, I don't know that one. Of course. All right. Don't worry. Don't worry. Some of these are like also like platform specific. So like that can be something that if you are thinking of using in your class, just make sure like, is it something that was just on Instagram? Is it something that was just on TikTok? Again, the age of people, like younger people might have definitely more knowledge of like the more recent trends or not. However, some do to kind of stand the ground. Number 2, I actually really like this one. I'm not saying it was There's like an end to that. We've got like me trying to All right. We've got keep calm. I think this is a super standard. We all know this. Okay, keep calm. 5, which is from a really classic movie. If you could go ahead and and then, oh my God, I love Chipotle. Okay,
I
so
wish I knew more. I think I only know number 4.
yeah. Don't worry. All right. Again, some of these are like hyper specific. So it's kind of a general one. And like what I've picked here is like for anyone who's like looking at this going like, oh my God, there's a broad range. Some are very recent, some are like older, some are kind of from a couple of years ago, some are on Vine, which is a kind of a platform that was there before TikTok was. So there, don't worry if you don't know them all. It's a good spread, all right? But let's go into them first and kind of go through with the answers, all right? Let me go there. Okay, so we've got I could have dropped my croissant. Okay, I can see probably people going like, what does that have? The next one, I'm not saying it was but it was this is actually from a meme where it's like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Okay. It's a classic one. Road works ahead. We've got like, I sure hope it does. It's a very classic one again. Keep calm and carry on. I think the one we're all okay with. Um, if you could just go ahead and that would be great. Okay. If you could go ahead and do that would be great. And then, oh my God, I love Chipotle. We've got like Chipotle is my life. Okay. So one thing before we move forwards, right? I've got X in a couple of these phrases. I'm not saying it was X, but it was X. Okay. If you could go ahead and do X, that would be great. Okay. And if I have here with like 6, I love Chipotle, that's just because it's such a specific thing, but you could change that for something else. So straight away for maybe people who taught like proficiency or C2 or C1, you might recognize some of these things as snow clones. And just as preamble here in snow clones are just like pre-established phrases that you can modify with another piece of language. Okay. The classic one is like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So like what happens in stays in. All right. And it's kind of like a meme, but it was snow clones were linguistic trends before memes were a thing. They were back in the 90s when they were kind of first identified. So what these have here is they have like a lot of similarities with snow clones. So it's like a pre-established phrase that exists, but there is scope for the learner to like swap words in and out. Okay. So for us teaching in our classrooms, it's perfect because it gives someone like a predefined structure to work with, which give them all the pieces that they need, but then they can use that to build their own language onto. They can, swap out. And then straight away, because there's a meme element to it, it's funny or there's a joke and people are enjoying it. So you kind of, it's the perfect way of kind of having a controlled exercise with a little bit of freer production. Like it's really there, which also it allows people to be inventive and experiment with the phrase in a way that wouldn't normally be there. So I love it like that because it's literally there. And you can see if we're looking at these 6 phrases, there's actually quite a lot of like complex grammar and sentence construction and sentence formation things going on here. Maybe not with all of them, all right? But like we've got like, a perfect modal there on the first. Okay, we've got like a nice, present continuous with contrasting. I'm not saying it was this, but it was this. Number 3, we can leave. It's just a meme. 4, we've got like imperatives. 5, we've got a lovely conditional structure. Okay. Right there. And okay, 6, maybe something for, if you wanted to be more emphatic or something like that. But, straight away, we've got like quite a lot of language that's there that probably, your learners have heard. Maybe they haven't fully like taken on everything that's going on in it, but they've probably seen it, probably heard it, or seen variations of it. And it's just ready for them to pick up, change, and produce. So that's why I really, really push for like teachers to use memes in the classroom. Because once you kind of realize that it's ready there, ready to go, you can just go with it. So that's why I'm kind of saying like that's the like so what that like we have all of these like super useful phrases, language. We'll see it's combined with video, it's combined with music, it's combined with like audio, and it's just ready there to use, um, freely available and something that everyone's got some access to. So that's the so what of it. We should be kind of thinking about it. If we take a step back from my passionate advocacy there for a bit to come back to like the data, there's like significant data talking about like social media use. I mean, I don't think any of this is a surprise here with that first statistic. These are from the Eurostat. I should have a little star here with my details, but it's from the Eurostat from 2023, I think. So between 16 and 24, so that's going to be a lot of like either university learners or maybe people who are doing an exam for the first time. Maybe they're doing first or first certificate in the Cambridge suite, or maybe something else. Like 96% of them have at least one form of social media. And probably that's TikTok at this day and age, but they might have an Instagram as well, but like definitely that is an absolutely massive percentage, and I can't exaggerate it enough, right? Because that means 96% of your learners are being exposed to this language on a daily basis, or this kind of type of language, or these things. So you can be pretty sure if you're introducing some content with memes, it's going to be there. Like that they will have had some contact with it. If we move up to the next one between like 25 and 34, so the next age bracket, it dips a little bit. Okay, this would be more your Instagram kind of person. So someone who's usually on Instagram is going to be in this bracket. So again, it's still a massive percentage, 84 with it. And then if we move into like older brackets, we've got like, 71. So like there with it. Okay. They didn't have statistics to after the 44 age group. They were like, we don't care anymore, which is terrible. But just to let people know, I did go looking, but they weren't there. But you can just see that like, the majority of our learners are going to be in these age groups, right? And they're going to have exposure to it. So the key thing is they are seeing it, they are in contact with it, and why not use it? It's this thing. And like I said, from 96% to 71% over almost a what is it, a 30-year age group, the age gap. We're seeing this like massive use of social media. And I think it's not like a massive leap to say that like if they're on social media, they're going to be exposed to memes and mimetic language in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so what I've got here when it decides to load in is I've got a video of a famous TikTok creator, and it's from TikTok, obviously. So be aware it's going to be very highly edited and it's going to be pretty frenetic in terms of its pace. But what he's doing is his joke here is he's just stopping people on the street with a microphone and asking them to complete a meme. Okay, he doesn't explain that. He just says the start of the meme, like we did earlier, where we had like the beginning phrase. He just does that, and then he just poses that to them and waits for them to respond. Okay, now a couple of things while we're watching it, I want you to kind of consider. So the first thing is, what do you notice about people who had difficulty understanding or completing the meme? Okay, so not all the people he speaks to understand what he's doing, which I think is totally fine. But not all the people understand what he's talking about. And then some other people really struggle with like completing the meme. Okay, so like how do I end this sentence or phrase? Okay, and then while you're watching as well, consider like what are the effects of understanding. So like when someone does understand, how do they feel? What is the effect of this? And then how does someone feel when they don't understand? Okay, and then the last question, I mean, this is the big question for the entire talk, but like, how could memes be taught to language learners in gen? Okay, so okay, I'm just gonna play it here, and I just want you to listen and let me know. Okay.
I could have dropped.
My croissant?
Yes, I needed that. I could have dropped.
Oh, I don't know this lyric, but I got up.
Yeah, we'll go. I could have dropped.
My croissant!
Oh, my croissant! Oh my God, I love Chipotle.
I don't know. I'm an immigrant. It's okay.
It's okay. Oh my God, I love Chipotle.
Chipotle is my love.
Chipotle is my life. Hi, my name is Jared. I'm 19.
I'm Bella, I'm 23.
Hi. Oh my God, I love Chipotle.
This is so embarrassing, please, no.
Hi, my name is Jared. I'm 19.
And I never f***ing learned how to read.
Yes!
This is the best day ever.
Road work ahead?
I sure hope it does.
Yeah, let's go! Road work ahead?
I sure hope it does.
Yeah, let's go, my guy! Road work ahead?
I sure hope it does.
I sure hope it does.
People know, apparently. It's an avocado. It's an avocado. It's an avocado.
Thanks.
Even when they don't want to answer it, they do. They're obligated by law, by meme law. It's an avocado.
An avocado. Thanks.
Yes!
Okay.
I could have dropped.
All right. So, all right. The first thing, and if you want to put something in the chat, feel free to. But what do you notice about people who had difficulty understanding or completing the meme?
Well, I kind of noticed that a couple of people were not Americans.
Yes.
So probably maybe that had an impact on them originally, like somebody rushes up to you and just kind of fires a question at you. Anyway, if you're in a foreign country. And then, like you were saying before, maybe the cultural aspect, they might have seen it in their own language, but not in English.
Exactly. Yeah. It's exactly that. Like a lot of the people who struggled, had not either, as you said, been exposed to it in English, or just had not been exposed to the meme. But you compare that then to the people who were, mostly from the United States, who just instantly knew how to finish that. It's like, and the only way I can compare it to is like either finishing like a collocation or an idiom, and you're like, well, it just finishes like that. That someone who grew up in the culture, the country, would just inherently know. And speaking to language learners, when they kind of get cut out of these situations, where someone's like, oh, an avocado, and everyone's like, oh, thanks, and they're like, what's going on here? Like, I don't know why there's a communication breakdown. They don't understand how the words that are being spoken reflect the situation, which comes back to basically idioms again. Where people say a series of words and you're like, yeah, I understood those words, but I don't know what's going on here. And that's what our memes have become. They've become this like cultural lexicon, which is really important. Okay, this is a specific, campus in the United States with a specific age group. But, if you were a language learner studying there and, people, kind of point out that you don't have this, it does, it create issues with communication, like anything would. So I think it's just a great video to kind of show that. And I also love how the other people are so ready to complete the meme, as soon as he says it, they're like, boom, I know how this goes, like instantly, no question about it. And even the one guy who's like, oh, I can't think of it, I know it, but I can't think of it. It's like that. So it's a case of like, when people get the joke, like the second question, when they understand the meme, when they get the meme, they enjoy it. Everyone kind of smiles. There's a bit of laughter with it. And then when they don't, like some people, like I think it was the second gentleman, and he was like, and I get back up, he was thinking it was like a song lyric or something. Or like the other person was like, look, I'm an immigrant, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you could see straight away that there was that barrier really for them, of either understanding or language production really with it. And it was a short video that I saw, and I just thought it was a perfect example of like memes in language and as a type of communication. If you're not sure of like all the memes here, like even the avocado one it's like it'll take me a couple of seconds to explain it, but it was just this idea that like this kid at Christmas got like an avocado wrapped in paper, and he was like, like thanks with it. But a lot of people have used this meme either to kind of show like insincere gratitude, and as a result, then that kind of comes in, so like it does kind of move into kind of a more of a production thing where people will say it, but you kind of need to know the background to get the reference. So it is important at the end of the day. And then are memes taught to language learners? That's going to be our big question, right? So first thing, we kind of started off here just like, that's looking at them in action, but let's go kind of back into the details really with them. So we started off that we talked about this earlier, it's the unit of communication, right? The next thing we also discussed was like it passes from one individual or group to others. They always move on. And then this is the big thing. They dominate online discourse, and they really do. As soon as anything happens, whether it's something in the news or whether it's something in entertainment, there is a meme straight away. And on top of that now, especially in terms of marketing and corporate stuff, they will use memes in their corporate marketing and messaging to, be more relatable and everything like that. So they will be used immediately as well. I mean, I mentioned the Montoya one, like it was Amazon literally the day after it happened. And it wasn't Amazon Spain, it was Amazon US that was, making memes on it. If you want to see it, like Duolingo, they're always very like on brand with like with memes and things like that. So like it's less from like just people with in their like private groups to definitely more of a broader social kind of relevance with it. So that's why I was saying like they definitely dominate online discourse. And again, regardless of language, so it could be any language that people are having. Now, of course, like some don't do that well. Like sometimes it's common, but not especially common to see like memes from like Japan move into English-speaking countries. It's less common because of the difference in script, but it does happen, and there are notable examples of it. So it will move with it. But obviously, it does depend quite a lot on digital access. So there is an element of a digital divide that could come into effect as well, which is worth considering if you are teaching people who maybe have not had access to internet in quite some time, or not maybe continuous or stable access to it. But definitely coming back to that idea, it is the dominant form of kind of communication online. So I've got a bunch of memes here. Some you definitely recognize. So we spoke about the keep calm and carry on meme for sure. This one was actually taken in Barcelona. I think it's like 20 years ago now, but it's an ultra classic meme that is there. People probably recognize it. This one from a couple of years ago. It was from a movie, but then it became a TikTok with some music attached to it. Maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't. This was another classic meme as well that was there. And this is something more recent from maybe a few months ago, which is probably like archaic when it comes to like meme culture, that it was from a few months ago, but it's still pretty relevant. I'll come back to it in a bit. But I've got this kind of idea here, like what ideas or concepts can these memes communicate? So, here with the keep calm, and so obviously it's like keep calm and do something else, like keep it together, continue. So, it's a very standard one here. Here, the idea that it communicates, we've got like, maybe someone in a bad situation and then the other person like oblivious to it, not caring. We've got like there, very standard one, right? We've got like a reaction here where like somebody has something negative and then the other person, again, similar to this one here. And then the distracted boyfriend meme as well, all right? We'll come back to what they call brain rot cat in a bit. Yeah, that's the name. We'll come back to it. And then language we can feature. So we've got like, a nice language here, like imperatives, keep calm and do the thing. Here we'll, see a little bit more about it. But this is what, like for teachers in the classroom, I want you to think whenever you see a meme, like something to consider, right? So like, what does it communicate? And then what language could be featured, okay? And this could be like something you were teaching this week. It could be something that you had planned for a future lesson. It could be some, again, like vocabulary or structure or piece of grammar that you want to go with. But how could it be incorporated into these things? Because I think a lot of the time we forget that it's there. So we're going to look at the different types of memes first. We're not going to go through all of them, but we'll just kind of look at them. So the first one we've got is like text-based memes. So it's usually an image. There's text. There's usually a very specific layout, like text at the top, text at the bottom. And then, like I said earlier, it's very interchangeable. It's no clones because it's like, if you do X, you can do Y, that kind of idea. Oh, I went too far. So like that's our keep calm and like there. So it's like very standard. It's like a template. You just slot the thing into it. Okay. Unfortunately, text-based memes, they're less popular. I mean, they were really big, 10 years ago. They're still there. They're still there, but they're not as popular as they used to be. You could still use them though. I'm not going to say anything like bad against them. They're just like, you might notice that they don't get students as engaged as you'd like them to be, right? Next thing, image macros. So like here, what we've, and actually this one is from students of mine that they did a few years ago. I loved it. I just thought it was brilliant. These would be the most common ones, so we've got like an image and then we've got text on top of the image, okay? These ones you can see here compared to like the very rigid structure of the text-based memes, where it's like do this, do that, there's a lot of space for them to play with, and it's really it gives them more kind of creativity, which is nice. This was the reaction memes. Okay, so this could be like two images, one to the left, one to the right, and then like text on top. They're usually from TV series or like big moments from TV series or movies or anything. I've got the one here from other students, you know. So like, you know, the left is the student, you know, talking to the teacher. And then the teacher's response, you know, the teacher's like, no, it's easy compared to some other language, you know. And that kind of idea. Or, you know, this was the one earlier. We also have like the videos and GIFs. So these ones could be a little bit more complex because we've either got like the moving image. So maybe there's that, or there's audio where there's like audio overlaid on it, which is also could be a really important part of the meme. So that's kind of our idea. This is the one, you know, that was from the movie. You know, so like you can see straight away, you know, the reaction to the situation. And again, like I said, all of these have been made by actual students in class. So I really enjoy, you know, that they're having that kind of fun where they're looking at the situation and they're either making really good observations or kind of structures with it. Now, we're not going to be looking at text-based memes just because they're a bit too rigid for my liking at the moment, but we're going to look at the image, we're going to look at the reaction memes, and we're going to take a little bit of time if we can squeeze it in at the videos and GIFs. So the image macros, like I said, you know, this is a positively ancient meme, but you can see here, like if you do, you're going to have a bad time. All right. So for us, they're really good for lexical chunks. So you kind of would take a big chunk there. Again, you can introduce complex grammatical structures. They act as a scaffold for the learners. And then it really allows them to kind of, you know, make their own content. Key thing for us as teachers, super easy to make. Okay, like literally, it'll take you no seconds. All right. Like I've got ones here that were, again, you know, things that people have made. These aren't from students. These are ones that were there. But you can see the questions I've asked, like what language is being presented in the memes, and then how could it be used in the classroom? You know, straight away, we've got really good conditionals. You know, we've got like a first conditional with going to. I know it's gonna in the meme, but like it's going to, so it's a nice variation instead of the whole will structure. We've got a second conditional. And, you know, we've also got a second conditional with like were in there as well. Okay, so we've got like nice language straight away. And then how can we use in the classroom? You know, simply like putting them in. Like if you do X, you're going to have a bad Y. If you go ahead and do that would be great. And then X with a second conditional clause, right? I'll put in the QR codes. We're not going to do them now, but if you just scan the QR code, it'll take you to a meme generator where you can literally type it in and it makes the image and you're ready to go. So it's something, like I said, very easy to make. Straight away, you're into production. And like I've given these like to students. So students can like scan it and then straight away like produce it. So and then instantly, without even any prompting from me in the class, they're sharing them with each other. You know, they're either sharing them by showing each other or they're sending them to each other because they're just like so happy with what they've produced. They're thinking about the joke that they've made, which is always great. But what's lovely for us is that they've produced the language, or they're interacting with the language that we want them to use. And I always like when, you know, students do that without really realizing that they're doing that, you know. So it's like that lovely mix of like I said earlier, controlled practice with freer production. Then reaction memes, you know, you have two here. This is another one from other students of mine. I loved it. So again, really focused with emotions. Okay, so like, you know, like there. So really great for Lexis in relation to there. And then, you know, if you want to use imperatives or present continuous or progressive or relative clauses, they're all there for us overall in it. And again, you know, these are ones that I've kind of put into the kind of the XY structure, you know, this was a relative clause one, like the X who, the person who, and then Y, you know, the actual person who did it. Or like me when I use some type of tense or something like there. And then again, you know, person group X, Y. And again, scan the QR code or give it to your students and it's straight away, they just put the structures in and they're ready to go and producing the language. You know, nice there, relative clause. You know, we've got also like nice comparative language as well.
Let's go.
All right, the last thing, it's going to autoplay, so I'm going to get into it. And I have about 5 minutes left. So what I've got here is the videos and GIFs. Now, I'm using the most recent one. And It's going to seem a little bit weird if you haven't seen it, don't worry. But I saw this 2 weeks ago. This is a TikTok from a lady who was running in the mini marathon in Barcelona 2 weeks ago. And I'm just going to let it play. I'm not going to make any observations, just going to let it play and see what you think.
Let's go. The brave.
Okay, so I'm going to play it again, just so maybe you didn't see that poster, and we'll
Let's
listen.
The
All right.
brave.
So yeah, this is the brain rot cat. I'll talk more about it in a bit, but you can see here instantly, like she sees the meme, recognizes, produces the language. Okay, now she is an English speaker herself, but the instant connection with the meme, language production, and there with it. Okay, now you might ask, like, what the hell is she saying? Totally reasonable. Okay, I'll play it. There was a meme. It goes back to the one that I had here with the cat. That was a very popular TikTok meme a few weeks ago on TikTok, and it was this cat doing this thing with this very weird sound. I'll play it in a bit, and people were showing it to their pets, and their pets were like absolutely mesmerized by the video. So people were going with it, and instantly I was thinking like, oh, wow, this is a great opportunity. All right.
Let's go.
So I'm just going to go, this is a concert with it. I'm going to pause it because it keeps going there. But it was turned into a concert. But instantly I was like, this is actually perfect. Okay. I'm sure a lot of people are like, what do I do with this? But it was perfect for vowel sound production, okay? Because it's different vowels that they're producing, okay? And it's done all the work for us. Like, it's put it into a song, okay? It's put into a video, and it's also something that probably people have seen or share or laughing about already. It's right there. It's right there to just take and just like pop it into your lesson. You're done. If you compare, like, I work a lot with material writers, and the amount of work in materials writing that you would need to do to like prep an activity and then make a song about it and then put the video with the song and then like embed it and then try and get people to watch it. That would be incredibly like a massive task. But here it's just done for you. It's ready to go. And I think like that's the thing for us that we have to really keep coming back to, that like a lot of memes just instantly will hit something that we can use, like for the videos and GIFs here, I'm coming back to enhanced listening skills. We've got like the natural speech patterns, the intonation and accents. Here was the one, I'll show you another bit in a bit, but like it's perfect for vowel sounds, just right there, done. Embedded in something for us there. Obviously, another big thing with the videos, we've got to be careful because a lot of informal language is used. So especially if it's like slang, you get some weird grammar structures. But there's always a point to showing learners about that too. And specifically with this video, like you have like just this pronunciation resource that's right there. It's either repetition, so they've heard it again and again and again and again. So it's right there to mimicry, like it's right there for them because they've heard it. They can probably hear it in their heads. So when it comes to producing, they have a resource that's embedded in their conscious that they can work with and practice with. And again, comes back to the second point. It's like short, catchy lines. So it's short, it's easy to remember, it's all put together. And I'm in my last minute here, but I'm gonna finish with like probably one of the original memes, but like it comes back to this this idea with this one about using it for vowel sounds, that like it's people, I couldn't make a better resource. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the last slide here. like I said, I couldn't make something better, right? It was just like perfect. And like we've got perfect vowel pronunciation sounds here. You know, we got the E, the U, the A. Okay, it's not, you know, amazing or anything, but if you had like young learners or people who struggle with those sounds, straight away. And on top of that, then you're also kind of incorporating the meme. So you've got like the classic Rickroll meme. So like you're exposing them to that, which is also exposing them to the culture, which is, you know, is something that we need to do as teachers as well. So you're bringing that into it. You're bringing in the brain rot cat meme into it. So like when they come to these things later on in life, or when they see them again, they'll be like, oh, you know, like if they haven't seen it before, you know, they'll come into it now. So that's the big thing kind of to take from it, that like if you see a meme in the wild, so it is, you know, put your, you know, your kind of teacher cap back on and think like, okay, that was funny. Could I use it? You know, I saw the brain rock cat one, and I was like, yeah, that's actually really interesting. There's perfect vowel sounds being pronounced there, you know, in a way that like just wouldn't be fun to do in class, especially with younger learners. But you know, straight away it's in a song, straight away it's in another song, you know, like I said, apps just ready to go, ready to go. You could just put it into your class. It's digital, like we said, so like you don't even need to like prepare it. You could just put it into a slide, or if you have like an IWB or something, put it into your notes, or you know, it's on TikTok, so you just literally can give them the link or put the link up. And it's there, you know. So that's the biggest thing, that like these resources would take so much time and preparation to make normally. And people are very inventive. People have always great ideas. They're doing it because they think it's funny, but you know, definitely seeing it, repurposing it, and you know, that could be your, you know, your warm up to a class in the morning. You know, you're gonna practice vowel sounds, play the song, do it, and you know, people will laugh, have a good time, and instead of your pronunciation practice of like doing all the e's, oo's, and ahs, which is always a hard sell. I always found like pronunciation is a hard sell to students. You know, you're doing it here, and they've got it straight away. All right, and that is everything for me today with it. And if you've got any questions, feel free to either put them in the chat or Latino or anything like that. For me, you can find me on LinkedIn, where I'm always putting up posts about it. And I also have a website where I kind of blog just about like ed tech and other kind of things in terms of ELT and digital material design there as well. So feel free to contact me on that there as well. So thanks, everyone.
Awesome. I don't know if we've got a few people watching live. If you've got any chats, any questions, feel free to drop them in a chat. That was so cool. I mean, I've come away with lots of ideas. One question that I have, as someone who is not down with the memes, is there kind of a risk of me kind of trying to introduce a meme into the classroom and my teenagers being kind of, oh my God, that's so last week?
I mean, basically, yes. But I mean, the big thing with this is you can't, you know, you could never combat that, because the shelf life of these is in days. So maybe if you saw something that night and then you brought it in the next day, it's a possibility that would look really good. You know, you'd get very good kudos for that. But I wouldn't stress about it, because you know, that's so hard to do. You know, I mean, there's, like I mentioned about corporate advertising earlier, like they have entire teams working on this, you know, 24/7 to be up to date. I don't think it's fair to expect any teachers to do that with memes, but I do think, you know, you've got the classic ones like the Rickroll there, you know, and even the one with the brain rock cat, that is a few weeks old, you know, like that is, but people will still get a laugh out of it. I think that the big thing with kind of memes with like teenage learners is just be careful about anything that could be like, some continue in popularity and some don't. And you want to try and stay away from the ones that don't. I think a good kind of way to gauge it is if something is being kind of reshared 2, 3, 4 weeks later, you're safe. Like that's going to continue. The brain rot cat, that's going to be around for a while, right? It has been around for a while. It's going to continue. It's going to be fine. If something is around for a weekend and you don't hear it ever again, it's gone. You can try it, but that's less of a sure bet. But I think the other thing as well is like how you incorporate it. Like if you incorporate it, like that it's a joke, like that it's not serious. And even if it's the most cringeworthy meme from 2 years ago, people will enjoy it because you kind of just lean into it rather than like, oh, this is something super contemporary, like that. So if you kind of recognize that, like I showed with the last one with the Rickroll, which is, I'd say 15 years old at this stage, if not more. But like people will still laugh at it, because it's like the whole thing is humorous and good-natured anyway. So regardless of how and when you produce that to someone, they're going to get a laugh out of it. So I think that's the key thing, that like if people are going to laugh, you don't need to worry about it. But if you want something to be, and I think the other thing as well is maybe don't, if you're introducing memes, try and have like a selection of when they're from. So you could have a very old one from like 10 years ago. You could have one from a year ago, and you could have one from 2 weeks ago. And I think that way then you'll never have any issue. I think the only problem would be is if you had 10 from 10 years ago. And I like coming back to the other point here, I think having a selection of these, so having like some text-based, some image-based, some reactions, some videos, if you have like a selection of them and you're reducing them to your students, that's much easier to engage them with. I would never use just one of one category. I would never just use like the image macros. I would maybe use image and reaction memes or image and videos. But that way then it kind of caters to everyone's preferences, and someone's going to find something in there that they like.
That was so cool. Thank you so much, Ciarán,
No,
for
thank you
coming
for
in.
having me. It's been great.
Yeah, because I remember we spoke on LinkedIn about this topic about a year ago, and even then I was like, oh, I really want to come. Because did you present this at IATEFL?
I did a few years ago, but I'm always looking for like new memes. So when I saw, I had seen the brain rot cat, but when I saw that lady in Barcelona, and like someone had a post, like it was so peculiar that someone made a poster with the like on it with the cat, just for people to run by and get a laugh from, and then she's saying it, and I was like, this is so. So I don't want to say strange, but it was just so random. That caught my eye, and then I thought straight away, like this is like the vowels that she's producing, especially for Spanish speakers, because the e's and the i's like switch. And straight away it was like a really good way to connect the I on the screen with the e sound, which was really great. So I just saw the potential straight away, and I was like, this is fantastic. So it's always about that, where you see something and you see the potential of like how you can use it.
As teachers, we're already watching TV shows and going, how can I use this? Now we're going to be scrolling down through Instagram and TikTok doing the same. There's no rest.
I mean, like the one thing, like, with TV, there's a lot more work to do, like, as I said, with the meme, you just literally, if you're on TikTok, you could right click and download it and it's there. And then, you just put it into your lesson. So the barrier to incorporating it is incredibly low. Same thing with any of the GIFs or anything like that. You can go to Giphy, that's Giphy. It's an entire like library of GIFs that you can just use. Again, you can just download them and put them in. So like that's the really useful thing for us, because if you were taking something from TV, you're like, how do I add that clip, and then how do I cut that clip, and anything like that, it'd be a lot more difficult. So with these like digital resources, that's exactly what you can avoid and just incorporate, and straight away you can build a lesson plan with memes very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Cool. Well, for anyone that's watching on catch up, do drop comments in the chat. Contact Ciarán as well on LinkedIn. I'll share his website and his LinkedIn profile so you can get in touch. Again, thank you very much for coming along this morning.
Okay, and hopefully everyone gets